Hi guys, Boyd here again with you, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 4 of our Enterprise refit build-up. On the last video, guys, we left off with the officer's lounge and adding that photo etched window frame around there, and we applied some putty on that. We let that dry overnight. So I've been back out in the shop today continuing on, and I've sanded down the putty and sprayed a couple coats of primer over that to show you how it turned out. We'll take you to the bench and have a look at that in just a second, guys. So I wanted to make a quick shout out, guys, to everybody because it was really important to me. I noticed on the our YouTube channel, TrekWorks, yesterday that we reached 800,000 views on the channel, guys, and I'm totally blown away by that. I can't believe it, guys. So thank you very much for checking us out on the channel. It's not going to be long. We're going to be at 1 million views. I can't believe it. So starting out 2 years ago on my little bitty coffee table there in my little office up front building models has really come a long ways, guys. So I really appreciate that, and I hope you're enjoying what we present here on the channel to you. So big shout out and big thank you for that, guys. I really appreciate it. So here we are, guys. We're going to take a look at the saucer again here on the bench, and you can see things are looking really good here, guys. I'll tighten up on this for you, and you can see that we've got a really nice looking officer's lounge window in here, guys. It turned out just like we were hoping. It's nice and flush. There are no lines or ridges around it. It looks like it's part of the ship, just like it's supposed to. And so I hope that little tip that we went through there will help you out when you get to that part on yours, guys. So we'll be repeating that same process when we get to the Arboretum windows on the secondary hull. That'll be a little bit down the line, but we'll be repeating that so you guys can have another look at that. Today what we're going to be doing, guys, is we're going to flip the saucer over and we're going to get into some wiring here. And we're going to connect up all of our navigation lights here on the top. Our red and our green and our white one here at the very front, and our two that are next to the impulse deck at the rear. We're going to connect that up to our Tenant Controls control board using some magnet wire, and we're going to be taking you through doing some soldering and things like that, so it'll be a good chance to have a look at how I do that, guys, and hopefully that'll pass along some information to a lot of you guys have been asking questions about that. And it's important at this step that we want to do this early on so we can test to make sure everything's going to work okay. If we have an issue with our board or something like that, we could still have time to send it back for repair or something, but I'm really confident in the Tenant Controls boards. I've had no issues with those in the past, so most likely we'll have this thing all hooked up today and working just fine, guys. So let me get my solder iron warmed up here. We'll get some wire out and we'll get our control board ready to go, and we'll come back and take you through that today, guys. So stay tuned. We'll be right back, everybody. So here we are and all set up and ready to go, guys. Let me tighten up on the shot here just a little bit for you and show you what we've got ready to go here, guys. We've got some magnet wire, which you guys know I'm really fond of using this stuff. This is 30 gauge magnet wire, and we've got our green and our red, which represent positive and negative, red being positive, green being negative. So I'm going to start attaching some wire on this, guys, and you can see we've got our positive resistor on each LED that we're going to be connecting up. So the first one we're going to start with is this one at the very front, which is one of our white marker lights. And let me get the camera tilted just right here so I keep you in the shot. And I'll be working on this one right here, guys. So I'm going to start with showing you that this is very simple with this magnet wire. You've got to have a good hot solder iron, but I'm just wrapping this wire unstripped right around this LED lead here, which has got the resistor connected to it on the positive side. And I'm using some 6040 rosin core solder. This happens to be a 062 gauge, which is kind of an all-around good size. Not too big, not too small. I've got my sponge wet here on my solder iron, so I'm keeping my tip nice and clean. And the very important, crucial step to this, guys, is you've got to tin this solder iron tip here first a little bit with your solder, and you see how quickly that iron melted that and made it instantly liquid. And that's the key. You have to have a really hot solder iron. I'm running this iron at about 100, it's a 50 watt iron, and I'm running it at 800 degrees. So let's go ahead and solder this now. Just a couple little dips onto my tip right there, and I'm just kind of working it back and forth on that wire that's wrapped across the LED, the resistor lead there. And just like that, guys, presto, we're soldered. This penetrated right through that magnet wire and soldered that in place just like that, guys. It's that easy. Like I said, the trick to this is that you've got to have a very hot solder iron and a good quality solder iron, and you must tin the iron, or tin the tip of the iron first before you start. And what I recommend is that between each time you solder something, wipe your tip on this sponge to get that nice, beautiful, clean tip look. And before you solder your next wire, you're going to go ahead and tin it again. So let's work our way around here, guys. I'm going to go over now to the, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, this one over here is another one of our navigation lights. So let me wrap another red wire around that. And again, I'm just holding it in place here and just basically wrapping it around there. Hopefully if this is in the shot for you here, guys. And now we'll tin our tip again. Make sure I'm in the picture here, guys. Yep, we're looking good. Alright, and doesn't take a lot of solder there, guys. You see that one little touch just kind of spread over the entire tip. And then we're just going to lay this right against this, and I'm touching the solder onto the top side of the iron here, and I'm just letting it flow and go through there, and it's instantly penetrated that shielding on that magnet wire, melted it, and made a solid connection. And we'll go ahead and clip this off. We're not going to worry about the exact lengths of this yet. We're going to probably mount our board somewhere here in the middle of the bottom of the saucer, so we just want to make sure that everything reaches towards the middle when we install the board. So okay, guys, we've got that one. It's time to move over to this one here, which is another one of our white marker lights that blinks at the same rate as the navigation light here back next to the impulse crystal. We'll wrap this wire again, and you can see using this method right here, guys, it goes really fast. So this magnet wire is really handy, being that you don't have to strip it. Okay, I just clean my tip again. I'm going to re-tin it. And I've got it nice and hot, and I'm going to do the same process all over again, guys. Dipping it on the top there, just letting it flow onto that resistor lead with our wire wrapped around it. And just like that, we're good to go, guys. That's a good solid connection. It's not going anywhere. And we'll go ahead and cut this one off at this approximately the same length. And we're just going to go around the circle here, guys. Okay, we're going to go over to this one now, which will be the that will be the green navigation light on the starboard side, and we'll wrap our wire around that one. And clean my tip again real quick and tin it. And here we go. Okay, guys, that's looking good. Go ahead and cut this one off long enough to make sure we got plenty there. Now, you can buy this magnet wire at Radio Shack, or you can buy it online off of eBay, which I found to be a better deal. I'm getting, what is this? This is a roll of 395 feet. I will put the username on the screen here for you of the magnet wire over at eBay, so you can find them and order yourself some if you want to use some of this stuff. I'm completely hooked on it. It's about all I use anymore. The only time I don't use magnet wire is running my main power wire up through the mounting pedestal on the model. I will use some hookup wire like this, which is it's probably about I don't know, I guess about 26 gauge, something like that. And the reason being is this is more durable and flexible. If the model is twisted and turned over time like that, you won't worry about breaking it off. But this magnet wire is perfectly fine to use on anything that's going to be a solid static connection where you're not going to have a lot of pressure or anything moving around with it. So it'll last forever. And again, it's so easy to work with. I really love it. Okay, guys, so now we've got all of our positive wires hooked up on these in our red. So now we'll be switching to the green and connecting up all of our negative lighting here on our LEDs. So let's start with this one over here. Doing the same exact process, guys. These stubs are a little bit shorter than my other ones since they don't have a resistor on them, and I've hot glued them so they're barely sticking up. It's a little more difficult to get the wire on there, but I'm doing the same exact thing. Let me swing this around so it's in the camera focus here for you. Okay, we've got that one connected on, and we've cleaned our tip, and we're retinning it again and applying heat onto this. And when this is working correctly, guys, you will literally see the solder flow like liquid all along that length of that terminal that you're soldering onto. It should look nice and shiny and chrome looking, not dull and lead looking. If it's dull and lead looking, it's not melting enough, and that means your solder iron is not getting hot enough. So again, going back to that same thing, I hate to keep harping on it, guys, but it's very important. If you don't have a very good solder iron and you plan on doing very much of this type of work, I suggest going out and getting one. And I recommend probably one of these Weller soldering stations like I've got here. It's a very nice unit. Should last you a long time. This one's rated at 50 watts. Like I said, it will go all the way up to 850 degrees, and that's more than enough for this type of work. It's better to have the ability to have too much instead of not enough on this particular application, guys. Okay, we're going to go over here and do this next one here, which is another one of our blinking lights at the side of the impulse deck. This being the negative side. I've wrapped that around there 3 or 4 times, and now I'm going to tin and clean again. Okay, ready to go. And again, I can just see that solder just flowing perfectly along that entire length there, and flowing like liquid mercury, and that's how it should look. Alright, we'll cut this one off as well. And move on to this next guy here. His twin brother that sits on the other side of the impulse deck. And again, I mentioned, guys, on this particular ship, on the Refit, we have these lights here next to the impulse deck in white that flash at the exact same rate as the navigation lights on the side of the saucer, the red and the green. And we've also got the one at the very forward tip of the bow, I guess you would call it, that of the saucer. Whoops, I pulled that one right off of there. That's no problem. We'll just slide that right back on, guys. All these lights in this particular grouping all flash at the same rate. So that's all going to be run off of one circuit here. Again, I lost my pulled that off of there, so I'm going to actually tin this tip here a little bit and tin this wire. And we'll just get that back in place. I don't have enough solder to have it grab a hold there. Alright, just hang on to it for a second, let it cure, cool down. Okay, we're good to go on that one. Alright, and then if you have any excess wire, like in this particular case, where I see a little bit of wire hanging off of that, you want to make sure you clip that off of there, because you never know if something was to move a little bit or whatever in there, you could have a short. It could touch the other lead, and then you'd have a real problem. You wouldn't have any power going on there anymore. You'd short the whole thing out. So, okay, we'll clip that one, and then move on to this one we've got here, and then we've only got one more at the front. And again, these stick out not very much here, this short little leg on these LEDs, so I don't have a lot to work with there to get a hold of it, but we got it. Clean and tin again. Alright, and that solder flowed on there really good. Let's go to our final one here, which is the very last one at the front of the bow here, which is another white marker light. Now, one of the things I'll be doing too, guys, is I'll be light blocking all these simply by using some Testors black enamel paint, which is a very good light blocker. I'll just do that with a brush after I've got all this wired up and make sure everything is working. I'll just brush over the back side of these bulbs. I won't be doing it on these yellow ones because they need to shine up, you know, and spread out a little bit on both sides, on the top and the bottom. And they're not close to the windows, so we won't get any bleed through into the windows from those. But our flashing lights here, some of them are kind of close to the windows, so we want to make sure that we block those out and they don't bleed into the For example, this one here next to the rec deck, which it might bleed into there and make that flash every time it goes off and on. So, but we'll cover that as we get to it, guys. It's a very simple step that we go through. Okay, we've got that last one soldered now. And we'll trim this one off. Okay, guys, so that's our first step here for our wiring of the saucer. You can see how quickly we went through all that. Now, of course, all these wires, once we decide to mount the board, the control board, wherever we decide to do that, it's going to be mounted in the bottom half of the saucer. And but I've left enough wire length to connect that. We're just doing it for temporary purposes today to do some testing. And but once we get that board placed and our wiring connected, we'll of course go down and tack all this wiring down too with some hot glue to make it nice and neat, so that nothing can move or short out or anything like that, or touch anything else. So don't worry, this is just the initial first step here, guys. Okay, guys, I'll be back in just a second. We're going to get our control board out. We're using the 1000B control board from Tenant Controls. And it's a nice small unit that's got some screw-in type terminal connectors on it, and we'll use that to hook everything up here, guys. So I'll be right back. Here we are again, everybody, and you can see that we have our 1000B control board from Tenant Controls out here. And this thing is tiny, guys. You can see compared to, for example, a roll of wire there, this thing is not much bigger than, like, say, a camera memory card, so it's really nice and small. Really like this. One of the nice features that it has, guys, is it has these screw-in type terminals for connecting everything. So I'm just finding my little miniature screwdriver here that I have specifically for this, and fishing it out of my box there. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be temporarily using a 9-volt battery to power this thing with, since we're going to be using a 9-volt power source when we eventually power this model up on its own. And so I'm going to connect this little battery clip. The nice thing about this is being that it's got these screw-in terminals, we can connect and unconnect things from it fairly easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin these tips of these wires so they're nice and stiff and they don't fray on us when we go to install it into the slots there. And get our solder iron out of the way here quick so we don't burn ourselves on it. And here we go, guys. Here we've got clearly marked on the instruction sheet here. I'll have you guys take a look at that. I'll back up on the camera just a little bit. You can see that we have here we've got the power coming in to the upper part of the board here, plus and minus. Then we're using the terminals 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the LEDs that we're going to be controlling. And so in this particular case we're using terminal 3 and 4, which is terminal 3 is the positive side and terminal 4 is the negative side. So we're going to connect each LED to positive side of each LED to terminal 3 with the resistor in between. And then terminal 4, they're all grounded together on the same ground. So very easy and simple to hook this up. And that is the navigation side of this control board. The other channel, which is terminals 1 and 2, is the strobe side, which will give you your quick flashing strobe. We're not going to be worrying about those just yet, guys, because we're only connecting our navigation type lights today for our test. And I'm just inserting this here into the slot, making sure it goes in all the way, and then we're going to just tighten this down nice and secure. Now when I finally do my final installation on this, guys, when I get everything in place, I will be putting a drop of Loctite on this on all of these set screws once they're down there nice and tight, and that will make sure that they don't back off or any vibration or anything like that. And then of course every wire that's connected close by to this thing, I will put some hot glue on those to keep those secure too, so they can't accidentally get, you know, pulled out or something like that. Chances of that happening are very low, because it's all going to be stationary inside the model, nothing pulling on it or anything like that. So we're going to be just fine with that. Okay, guys, now what I'll do now is I'm going to grab the saucer and bring that back over here. We've got this initial preparation done on the board here, and we've got to bare a couple of wires here so that the insulation is removed off of these magnet wires. So I'm going to fire the solder iron back up, and we'll dab a little bit of solder on these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double these over and just make a little bit of a loop on each end, so they're kind of twice as thick as they should be. And then once I solder that, that's going to make a nice little, a little bit more meat there for the contact screw inside of the control board to grab a hold of that when we're connecting it. Okay, so I've got that ready to go. Just let my solder iron warm up a little bit. I'll go to this next one. Now, when I get ready to wire this model, guys, in the end here, and we're going, like I said, we're going to cover all this for you. There'll be just one ground wire that I'll run into the control board here for all these lights. I'll run a ground wire sort of in a loop all the way around here and connect these all individually to it. Then run that one to the control board, and that way, just like it shows here on the instructions, you know, this just makes one big loop. So all the grounds are all connected to one wire here. You can do the same thing with the positive side of the LEDs here. As long as you make sure you're on this side of the resistor's in between the board and the LED, or you'll burn the LED out. So we should be good with that. Okay, my solder iron's up to speed here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and dab some solder on each one of these tips that I folded over here. Okay, if I can find my other one, there we go. Here's our negative. Okay, that one's looking good. Alright guys, for cutting down on time constraints on the video here, guys, I'm going to continue to solder all these wires here off camera for you. You've seen the process that I'm using, so that should cover that. Once I get that all completed, we're going to come back and I'll show those being connected into the control board, and we'll go ahead and power this up and show you how it looks. So be right back with that one, guys. So here you go, guys. I'm back with you now, and I've been wiring this up really quick. One little adjustment I had to make is I realized that putting all these ends together wasn't going to work going inside the unit itself, because there's only a small little slot where these wires go inside the screw-in terminal on the control board. So what I've done here is I've soldered, like I talked about earlier, I've brought these all into one location and then brought one wire in on the positive side. Same thing on the negative side. Now I've got my 9-volt battery connected up here, and you can see that I've got one light working, because what I've done is I've soldered that one complete. Now where all these are tied together, I haven't soldered this yet for all the grounds for the other ones, but I wanted to use this opportunity here to demonstrate this technique with this solder again, so that you'll see when this solder penetrates this magnetic wire, it burns right through it, and you make your connection here again. So I've turned my iron up to 800 again. I've got my tip cleaned and tinned, and now I'm going to solder this, and you can see all these individual lights starting to come on now, guys, once the ground hits. Okay guys, so that's that. You can see we've got all of our lights flashing on this now. I will turn this over real quick so you guys can see how it looks from the top. And we'll try to keep everything in one place here for you. And down she goes. Okay. So here we go, guys. Everything looks nice and in scale. Let me get, so you can see them all here, and we'll turn off these overhead lights for you. If I can tilt it up just a little bit, you can see we've got our, maybe it'll help if I back things up a little here for you guys. There we go. You guys can see we've got our red and our green, and our two whites at the rear and our white at the very front there. So And you can see again one of the things we were trying to achieve here, guys, is we kept these lights nice and scale. They're not glaring and glowing all over the place. They shouldn't do that. This is a very large ship. You wouldn't see these huge lights glowing off of this thing. Now our strobe lights, that's a different story. The strobe lights are supposed to be noticeable. Those are anti-collision lights, and those should be definitely getting your attention, and a little bit brighter in there, where you get that little bright burst each time they hit. So what we're going to do, guys, is we've now tested the the navigation side of our control board here. So I'm going to bring the little bridge piece back over here that we mounted that LED in the top of, and that one actually is a strobe light. So I'll be just laying this on here temporarily, and we'll connect that one up, and we'll make sure that our strobe light circuit is working as well, guys. So I'll be right back with that in just a second. Okay guys, I'm back now again, and I've completed adding our bridge part there on the top with our little LED that we had mounted in the back of that for our strobe at the back of the bridge on the top. And I've wired that one into the 1 and 2 channel that we talked about here on the control board. Upside down. You can see we've got channel 1 and 2 up here for our strobes. We've got one more that'll be located on the belly of the ship, and 2 more that are located on one on each side of the rear tail end section of the nacelle. And that's all the strobe lights that are on this particular model. Again, going back and talking about that, there were no flashing strobes on the tail section of the refit version. That didn't happen until later on into the parts of Star Trek II and Star Trek III. So we're doing this as the refit from Star Trek the Motion Picture, so we're trying to keep that correct. So I've got those wired in. These wires right here are the actual SMDs that we wired in for our spotlight effect at the front of the bridge. So these do not tie into that circuit at all, guys. These will tie into the main lighting circuit. Now you can see here I've got this marked plus and minus. So when I start building my wiring into this, the rest of the way, my main power from my switch that will come in from the model all the way up through the bottom of the model, through the neck and into the saucer, will I'll build a little terminal block right here, which will be a plus and a minus side. That's connected directly to the power supply, guys. So what I'm going to do there is one hot wire will come off of that, which is our positive side, and connect directly to these SMDs, and that will also connect directly to all of our individual strip LEDs that we connect in here for our window lighting, and that will provide power to all of the lighting, so that when we turn on the switch, all this lighting will come on. Now I'll also run another separate power wire over to our control board here, so at the same time we'll be powering up our navigation lights and all the other animated lighting on the model. Now the other individual boards that we're going to be installing in this, the photon board to launch the photons and the deflector fader, they will also tie their power in right here. So everything is tied together in one spot, guys. A lot of people have asked about how the wiring is separated. You basically start off with a plus and minus junction here. Everything else will be grounded all on the same spot. All the grounds for all the wiring, all the lighting will all be grounded to the same spot. The common ground can be shared for everything on this entire lighting system, guys. So you need to hook up separate power wires for your individual switches if you want to do any different things, like having things come on at different times. So if you want to have, say, your lights come on separately, you'll need to run a separate power wire up here and connect that directly to your lights. But in this case, everything's going to come on when we turn the power wire on. Okay? So what I've done here now is I've connected these wires up like I mentioned, and I'm going to go ahead and connect the battery here, and you can see all of our lights are working here, and this looks really good. Now I'm going to flip this thing over real carefully, and we'll see that we also have our strobe light working on the top of our bridge now. And so we know now that I'll turn these lights off so you can get the full effect. We know now that our circuit is working just fine. We've got everything going, and that means our control board is fully functional and fully operational, guys. So we're good to go here. And you can see this is the effect that we're looking for on the refit. We've got these lights back here at the impulse section that are flashing at the same rate as these over here, the navigation, the red and the green. And this one up forward is supposed to be at the same rate. And this particular one here at the rear is what we call a strobe light, which flashes separately and gives a bright pulse, just a real quick on and off. And that's the correct look for the Enterprise refit. Okay guys, well that's going to be a wrap for this particular video. We're going to come back in the next video and we're going to install all of our strip lighting for our window lights, and then we're going to go and attach our wall pieces all the way around, and we're going to be cleaning up our primer off the edges of this so we can get a nice solid glue connection, and we'll glue all that together and get that set, and then we'll be getting close to starting the work on the bottom of the saucer, guys. We've got to install some more of these individual navigation lights here on the bottom of that, and then we've got to install some strip lighting so we make sure we reflect our lighting back and forth. We're going to install some strip lighting in the bottom that faces upward that lights these windows here on the BC deck and also our officer's lounge. So and also we've got to work in the lighting for the crystal and the impulse engines. So that's a wrap for this one, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Things are coming along just great here. So take care out there, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Happy modeling, everyone.